So this is like a serious, this is not like a fun situation. This is like humanity changing, hopefully in a good way, but this is like, quite serious. And I, risked my personal and professional life, personal life, because things have happened to me, to be public like this. And I swore an oath, but, myself and my generation, want to see it change.
Can you discuss the things that have happened to you personally?
Yeah. So a lot of the stuff I have to be purposely vague because there's an open Inspector General reprisal investigation on my behalf. And I'm not here to compromise the investigation by tipping off my antibodies that may be watching right now. But, when I really started looking into this, they came after me so hard to try to revoke my clearance, ruin my career, kicked me out of my agency, and they accused me of everything. At first, they wanted to say, "Oh, Dave, you have mental health stuff you didn't report to us. We're concerned because we think you might have an ongoing mental health issue." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I reported that I had PTSD from Afghanistan in my military service several years ago, and I sought help for that. Like, I'm not ashamed of that. I'm high functioning autistic, and I didn't know that until my early 30s, and how I process trauma, I didn't really understand until many years later. And, I sought help for that, and they were trying to say that, like, I had some secret mental health problem that I haven't been reporting to. So I had to go through this whole process. 3 agencies at the same time investigated me for that, which I don't even know if that's like legal. They tried to say that I like mishandled classified, all this other stuff. It was insane. Apparently, I was under criminal investigation for a couple months, and I didn't even know that, and nor did they interview me, but they made a finding with no evidence they tried to use against me that I had to spend money to basically litigate and maintain my employment and my clearance, which I did, for the record. I maintained my clearance. I resigned with full accesses. I'm just debriefed now, but I maintained my top secret eligibility, and I left with my own accord. And of course, they ruined one of my boss's careers in another agency. They walked him out of the building and revoked his clearance and terminated him as a show of force after they were going after me. And I feel sorry for that certain individual. And they came after coworkers of mine. I can't get into who, what, when, where, and why to protect their identities and their own process. But so that's what happened to me professionally. And then what happened to me personally was very disturbing. So I have to be very vague about this because ongoing investigation, but I think you'll understand what I'm saying, is they showed my wife and I they can touch me at any time, 2 times. And it was very disturbing. It was in conjunction with some other people getting a message like that are, let's say, publicly well-known. Some that aren't publicly well known. And of course, I immediately reported that to, counterintelligence, federal law enforcement local to me, because it, wasn't criminal, but it was like a fuck you to me. And this was right before I filed my whistleblower complaint. Now, I don't know who did this, entity who did X, Y, and Z to my wife and I, identity unknown, but it fucking happens. And I, provided that documentation to a couple special agents, and I just knew that it was getting serious. And, first of all, I'm the kind of person, I'm from Pittsburgh, like Steel Town, I don't take shit from people. And I decided, fuck it, I'm going to file an Inspector General complaint to protect myself. I'm in fear for my safety. My wife's an Air Force veteran too, and, very strong individual, but, as a man, you don't want to put your family at risk. And, did certain other measures, which I won't talk about, to protect myself, physically. And I could not believe that was happening to me. No kidding. And I knew I needed to do something internally. And then when I saw the writing on the wall, earlier this year. And of course, I knew about the Schumer Amendment, like I mentioned earlier. And I knew, I'm like, I got to do this for my own protection, because me leaving the federal service, because I resigned my Air Force commission. I totally threw that career away to do what I thought was the right and patriotic thing, to whistleblow on this, and I, swore my oath 18 years ago. And that sounds hokey, but I believe, integrity first, service before self, and excellence all we do. That's the Air Force motto. And I'm like, this is not going to help me personally. Like, love talking to you. I like spreading this message because it's the right and ethical thing to do. But this is a nightmare for me. I don't want to be public. I've served the country in clandestine and covert operations for 14 years. I've done technical intelligence for some of the most high-profile takedowns in U.S. history. I shouldn't even be here. But I am, because I want to see change. I saw something unethical and unmoral. I want to make sure I hold that element of the government accountable. And it was the right fucking thing to do.